Guys, welcome back to SourceFedNERD. Today for SourceFedNERD News, we want to do something a little special, a little different. We last night, you may not have known, that Luke Cage premiered on Netflix. Pretty cool.
Real late.
Well, real late, midnight, Pacific Standard Time, so thank you so much for that, Netflix. Sorry, everybody on the East Coast, that's not fair to you, but oh well. We actually had a chance to check out the very first episode, and we wanted to give our first reviews, our first thoughts, speculations, maybe some secrets that we may have found. We don't want to go too far into spoilers for those people who haven't had a chance to check it out yet, so don't
Luke
worry.
Cage. I thought this episode was about Loot Crate.
Thanks for not sponsoring.
Not bad.
Not sponsored.
This episode was brought to you by
Nah.
not Loot Crate.
Wow.
What is that? Is that a cough in there? Anyway, so we want to get into our Loot Crate episode 1 reviews, thoughts, whatnot. But before we do that, I wanted to let you guys know that tomorrow, that's Saturday, October 1st, we're going to be doing a all-day live stream marathon of Luke Cage Season 1 from Episode 2 to Episode 13. So you guys coming into it, you should have already watched the first episode after we release this video.
We're gonna have pajamas. We're gonna have cereal. Maybe I'll
Lots
make
of
Bloody
surprises.
Marys.
Yeah.
Sam's gonna die.
Wow.
We're gonna see a butt.
There's a
But
chance of
probably.
butt.
There were boobs in the first episode.
Yeah.
There were.
Kind of.
Spoilers. But we'll get to that in a second. So make sure you tune in tomorrow at 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time on this channel, youtube.com/SourceFedNERD. You can check out all of our Twitters and the SourceFedNERD Twitter for more information about it. There's a lot of snot in my nose. I'm going to be fighting through
You're doing
during
great.
this episode.
I think the best way to get over sickness is to do a 12-hour live stream.
Right? Just let it sit in there and cook into you. So let's get started with episode 1. Luke Cage. What did you guys think? Overall, let's get a thumbs up on 3. Thumbs up, thumbs down on 3, 2, 1. 2!
Wow.
I'll give it a 2 as well. Man, I shouldn't say pleasantly surprised because already off the bat, I thought this show was going to be awesome. Again, I can't really call the whole show awesome, but this episode really was a good foot forward for the series with other Marvel Netflix series. Always forward. Oh, always forward. With other Marvel series, besides like Daredevil Season 1, that first episode was very solid. Jessica Jones, a little rough. Season 2 of Daredevil, it got better as it progressed for me, but this one was such a solid step in the right direction. I love the texture of the show. It's very special. It's very different. And you still get your Marvelisms with your little nods here and there, and also just Luke Cage in general. But it also just feels like this awesome take of like kind of like a, what is it? Give me some genres out there. What are we feeling with this show?
I mean, it like touches on blaxploitation actually.
It does,
Though,
yes.
like, you know, that
but
genre.
kind of reclaiming it a little bit.
Yeah, well, a lot of people think of that as like, oh, are we allowed to talk about this? Like, well, no, that was a full genre of film that had kind of an unfortunate name, but is kind of that feel of ground level Harlem, like nothing in Marvel except for the Incredible Hulk. Had that fight in the fight at the end in Harlem. That's the previous instance of like, oh, that's what Harlem's like. Monsters fighting in the street. Yeah.
Which I really hope they bring that up because I completely forgot about that. There were other nods in this series, which we'll kind of touch on at the end because I don't want to get too far into that. But there are some Easter eggs that are very subtle that I was able to catch and do a little bit of research on before we shot this. But Whitney, what did you think? You gave me 2 thumbs up, so.
I loved it. I'm a little nervous to marathon it because it's like it's so gritty and it's so violent. I don't know if I can do that for 12 hours. But we'll definitely find out. I loved it. I thought it was very, very sexy. And
but on different levels too. It's kind of like the music is sexy.
The only thing that I thought that was
music
kind of
was great.
The sex in general
the
is
sex
sexy.
was very sexy.
Oh, that's what that is.
That's what that is.
It's Mummy Daddy fun time. The only thing I thought was kind of awkward was like when he's first flirting with that girl and they're just insulting each other and it's like you look fucking old.
And then it's like
stupid.
Walks away, comes back. Did I mention earlier how old you look?
Yeah.
Because I'm not sure if I've said it enough times. And yet, palpable chemistry.
Yeah,
Yes.
it works.
I'm very excited to see how Misty Knight evolves through this series because also
I loved her.
I did too, right? She's she's very entertaining, and I want to. What is that?
That's you becoming a man.
Hey, thanks everybody. Mazel tov to me. But I have like a little tiny gripe before I get into more praise because I have mountains of it for this show. The partner dynamic with Misty Knight and her partner, he's familiar from other series, but his line delivery and mainly lines and dialogue, it's a little rough. It's not very polished, but again, we have 13 episodes to kind of get used to them.
You really honed in on one person to not like. It's so many characters.
No, because
he's got 8 lines. You're like, no,
that
I
one
can't. You
dude.
can't give. I don't think you can give a project or a movie or TV show complete and total praise. You kind of have to, as humans, we
you
like to
find it
nitpick.
yeah.
You want to nitpick
And
a little
also,
bit.
if you like something or someone, I think it's important to criticize a little bit as long as it's constructive because you want the thing to be better. You know?
No, I'm laughing at the fact that he was like, of all things to look at, it's
Just
like,
that one
this
fucking
one guy, I'm
bit
not
part.
having it.
This one dude.
Yeah.
That
No, I
didn't
cringed when he was talking smack about Ben Franklin.
Yeah, didn't like Ben
who hates
Franklin?
Ben Franklin? And also, he doesn't know Ben Franklin.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean,
He's also like an adult that grew up in America, in New York. It's like
he's not the kind of
Ben
stupid in a
yeah.
show that you like. He's the kind of stupid that is frustrating to watch.
yeah.
Like
I'll say-
let's make sure that doesn't continue.
if we're gonna do gripes first, since we don't have many, a gripe I have is it's not even really a problem. It's just going to develop differently. But Cottonmouth being clearly not the head of the totem pole, he's lower. He seems a little afraid of what might happen to him, and he seems like. In a good way, it could be a cat
love
being backed
that.
into a corner. It's also a new take on a villain. He's not the kingpin, right? He's trying to fight to maybe fill that vacuum. But it also, for episode 1 specifically, is like, all right, I don't really feel anyone who is a threat to Luke Cage at this moment.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Because he's so OP too.
Yes,
He's
he is. But I did like
Right.
the Cottonmouth, he asserted his dominance in more than one way, psychologically, but then physically. It was a nice build up. I was taking a few notes when I was watching it that I liked in Jessica Jones how the main villain, even there wasn't really anything besides the shadowing kind of notion of Kilgrave of the Purple Man, doesn't really show up until episode 5. When you finally meet him, you see him. In this, I would have liked maybe Cottonmouth to be reserved a little bit, mainly you see him in the back of clubs, that kind of thing. But with the mention of Diamondback, and if you should maybe go check out my Luke Cage, or you definitely should go check out my Luke Cage 101, where I talk about more of Luke Cage and Diamondback's origins, because he is directly tied to Luke Cage, and there's a lot of emotion there, especially with Reva, who is Luke Cage's wife, who helped him kind of rehabilitate
Who
from
got killed by Luke Cage's rebound.
Whoa, spoilers!
Oops. And I
Some
did
of
like
these
the
people
little
probably
mention.
haven't seen Jessica Jones.
Oh,
yet.
you
You haven't
should
seen
have.
Jessica
Yeah,
Jones.
I
You
have
have
to.
have seen
You'll
it.
learn more
There's-
about that. That's okay, though. But I liked how they ended the villain in that series, but with the mention of Diamondback, that kind of feels like he is the bigger threat, or it will allow Cottonmouth to kind of usurp him and become an even worse threat for
I think
Harlem.
that in the first episode, it's cool that I took it as Cottonmouth's not going to be the big bad. There's going to be somebody else, and I actually really liked that because I felt like it was humanizing him. I'm always a big fan of when stories ground their villains in real decisions that they have to make, and they're multifaceted. They're not just a bad guy. So I really think that Cottonmouth is not the guy.
See, I think he
that
will
it's
be. I think even though he clearly is gonna have his own threats, I think it's gonna be kind of what I was saying with that cat being backed into a corner. When you are suddenly threatened, you make some mistakes, but that also means you're usually more aggressive. And I think that's kind of what was on display in that moment with the Biggie Smalls poster behind him,
Which is
where it's
Yeah,
the
that's
beautiful
great
cinematography, and he walks into frame, and the crown is sitting on his head, and he's kind of people admire the crown, and implying he's the king.
Did you
but
get
then
that was a metaphor?
Well, but I think it doesn't stop at that moment. I think it keeps going.
And he
where-
mentions it earlier as well before that
Right,
scene.
but he then loses it. He loses his temper, and he's no longer centered under that crown anymore. He's just going all out, and he's just covered in blood. And it's
He just can't wait to be king.
Unnecessary
Disney.
liking there. But no, yeah, I think he is showing you this is who I want to be. I mean, even though it's a cool shot, it is a little bit pretentious. And he's like, but who I actually am right now, I'm driven by my emotions. I think that's going to make him strike out in very interesting ways that will get scary.
I'd be cool with that too, honestly. If that's his character development and he turns out to be the big bad, I would be also cool with that.
As of right now, Cottonmouth has more things to do, at their setting up right now, than Luke Cage does as of right now. Mainly, he's looking for maybe more money, a more secure environment, but also kind of looking out for those that he loves and he cares about, which I'm excited about. But getting away from Cottonmouth for just a second, I wanted to just talk about the tone and the texture of the show, because it's got a you can almost touch it. It's like this weird kind of like tapestry
Well,
of
the
something.
palette of colors is
Right.
real specific and on
The
purpose, which all
music.
those shows are.
Oh, exactly. And
Yeah.
I think that these shows don't get enough credit for their color schemes because, like, they might have a few problems here and there, but visually, the Marvel and Jeff Loeb and their whole team does a very good job of, like, making these shows beautiful to watch.
Yeah.
So I love the color schemes, also the cinematography, also like, specifically the Biggie scene, like of him walking in front of the portrait and getting the crown on his head, but also like when they're in the jazz club and that cutting between like the gunfight
The
and
singer.
and their discussion and Luke Cage and all this. It's like it's really building out. This is what Harlem is. This is what everyone's relationship is to everyone. And this will be like at least maybe a few episode arc of like a conflict that they need to resolve.
Yeah.
So, like I don't know how long they can get like milk this specific one, but I'm excited to see milk.
I loved the costume design and the set design. That was something that really attracted me to this show. But also on that note, I love how real they made the gun violence feel. And it wasn't cool. It was very scary and very, very real feeling.
Even the person who felt that it was cool, it made him like unhinged.
Yeah.
Like it didn't make it made him even more terrifying. What is that? We're gonna figure what that is in the
You're gonna
comments
be a
down
man
below.
soon.
Doctor in the comments.
In the comments. But
Tell him how many days he has left.
really quick, I wanted to hit some like Easter eggs. What Easter eggs did you guys find like right off the bat? Anything
Philip
that stand out to
found
you?
an interesting one. I didn't notice any. The window of. her
Oh, well,
looking
I'd
out
say
the
that's
window.
a more subtle one, but one of the ways that we met Luke Cage and Jessica Jones was through windows. She would watch him and be spying on him, and at first we were like, oh, it's a little love interest thing, and then we find out a few episodes later that she actually is spying on Luke Cage, and it's just interesting that he goes out to the window, that it was very similar to the way he looked in Jessica Jones, to watch as Misty Knight is leaving, and
Oh,
it's
very
like
cool.
his new love interest.
Yeah.
That to me is like maybe a recurring motif of just seeing these love interests through those
Spying.
windows.
Maybe, but
Yeah.
that is a very good catch. I like the more on the nose ones. You have the incident, the kid like selling like footage of it, which is a very cool like way of
Right.
people like kind of capitalizing on a tragedy that happened
Right.
in their city.
Yeah.
The hammer tech weapons.
Yes, and
Yeah.
that was a fun one that I got to look up because that is a reference that maybe people would not need to remember. It's Iron Man 2's Sam
Right.
Rockwell's character.
It's a
that,
fun
like,
character.
He is a
Yeah.
fun character, but man, like one note, like he is not important at all. But
Though
that
it
is
makes
his
a
company.
lot of sense in that world. It's in New York. If you're not Stark Industries making stuff,
You can't make
you're-
everything.
Then you're his competitor, which is the Hammer Tech Corp. They're the ones that I think made the War Machine suit after Tony didn't want to do it. Yeah.
Yeah, or they at least added on, they grafted on
Yeah,
like
yeah.
the Gatling gun and whatnot, so that was pretty cool. But I also liked the little nod to Jessica Jones right off the bat as calling her the Rebound.
Yeah,
Which
yeah.
is obviously a nice way of
It
describing
hurt a
somebody.
little bit.
And the like little nod to the shotgun little encounter for those
Yeah,
of you
my
who have
head
not
still
seen
hurts
Jessica
sometimes.
Jones. Yeah, which was awesome. But overall, how are you guys feeling about the season? What are you excited for? Whatnot?
I
Go
hope
for it.
Jessica Jones shows up. I don't
We
care.
gotta.
I don't care if it's
Yeah.
even just like in the background for a second. I just want her to be there. I just want, they can say like nods or whatever to it, but I just want it to weave together perfectly.
Little tapestry. Philip, how you feeling?
I think there's like it's weird because I don't like watching things that are for entertainment with a forced on kind of political message. Like I don't want to like you know what you can really say about this. That said, this show is trying desperately to do some form of political commentary. I don't think we know necessarily what their thesis is going to be about the state of a black man in America, but they really spent a lot of time on the Invisible Man book, which
Yes.
if you've read that, you might have had to read that actually. It's about how being black makes you invisible because you can't be seen for what you really are, so you might as well like not be there. But there's an interesting thing where Luke wants to be invisible, right? He's trying to stay low key, get paid under the table, all those things. And being in that book, there's a point about how when you're invisible, you actually can get away with more and like less people will see you, so it's almost a good thing, but you can't have an impact on the world.
Yeah.
So you have to undo your invisibility, and I feel like that's going to be Luke's arc, but I feel like they're going to tie it to somehow the Black Lives Matter movement, a couple things.
I feel like there was a mention of that in this as well. There were at least
was.
Yeah,
like
they
there
did.
nods to
She-
it.
was talking about it
his
on the
cousin
news.
mentions it,
Yeah.
right? And they've said before the hoodie is specifically they do want it to evoke images of Trayvon Martin. I'm very curious with what they're going to try to do with that because Marvel hasn't really done that before, and it's that's some next level shit.
Yeah, no, they're definitely pulling out a lot of stops with this show. I'm excited to binge it tomorrow, and I'm excited. I hope you guys tune in as well. I cannot wait. We're going to be having a lot of fun. But also, really quick, I wanted to give a quick shout out to today's sponsor of Nerd News. It's Beachbody On Demand. You can stream hundreds of result-driven workouts from world-class super trainers with Beachbody On Demand, accessible from your TV, your laptop, or your mobile device. Actually, we've had a chance to check them all out, and there's a lot of options. Specifically, I love Insanity, but I know they have P90X, Focus, T25, 21 Day Fix Extreme, and many others. Which ones have you guys been able to check out? If you have, and if you have a favorite. I know you were like peeking at a few.
I did P90X for a long time, and it worked, and then I quit, and it stopped working because I quit. Insanity is hard as hell.
It is, but like in the first time you're gonna feel a little defeated, but when you come
a little
back,
vomit.
Yeah, a little vomit. But when you come back, you're gonna feel even more accomplished because when you're done with that, you see all those people in those videos, and you're like, yeah, I'm keeping up with you. I'm keeping up with you. All right, so you guys.
Like P90X, but I also looked at some of the hip hop classes.
There's a couple, yeah,
and they look really fun. I'm excited to check those out.
In P90X, my favorite thing is there's a guy. They make a point. You think we're fit athletes? This guy has one leg, and there's a one-legged man doing P90X, and you're like, all right, I don't have an excuse. And then he's a badass, and you're like, damn it.
But you're speaking about dancing because they also have yoga, they have low-impact workouts, they have cardio, they have resistant workouts. They have everything you can think of, but you can also access it from your phone, which is pretty cool. So if you guys want to check out, sign up with Beachbody On Demand today and get free 30-day membership, which is pretty cool, by going to BODNERD, BODNERD.com. Very good at spelling. You can check it out on the screen right there. But guys, thank you so much for watching. Make sure you like this video, comment down below, share, and subscribe. And then check us out tomorrow here. SourceFedNERD, live stream, Luke Cage. We'll sync it all up. We'll have a blast. We'll eat food, make jokes, maybe see a butt. I'm Sam.
I'm Philip.
I'm Whitney.
And we'll see you guys tomorrow. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Yesterday, the final trailer for Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them dropped, and you've probably got some questions. Let's take a closer look, shall we?